Can you see, can you read the text at the back? Yes? No? Yeah? Yeah, you can read the text. All right. Say, if you can, there are two pieces of control you have over this talk. If you can't see the text, then you tell me. If I speak too fast, then you tell me. If you see that there are signs from, where's the translator? Is it somebody who's translating? Who's listening using the simultaneous translation? Put your hand up if you're listening using the translation. I don't see anybody. There's no somebody. Okay, I thought there was. Okay, okay, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to talk about the beginnings of the web a bit. I'm going to talk about a little bit about new HTML5 features, because a lot of you are developing stuff for the web. I'm going to talk about linked open data, which is something I'm excited about. But first, I'm going to start off before the web. Now, with the age of most of you, the lack of age of most of you, you're so young, you probably don't remember what it was like before the web. If somebody says click or web page, you have that idea in your head. But back in 1989, then, and if you were born, then if you're old enough, you remember that people didn't have that idea. So it was very difficult to explain what the web would be like. Now, what was neat was I was working in Geneva. There in the background is the Mont Blanc, the big mountain in the Alps, and this is the accelerator. Now there's the Large Hadron Collider. They had a previous one there, this big tunnel underneath. Oh, there is.
Perdón por la interrupción. Tenemos traducción simultánea y tenemos cascos ahí detrás. Y yo no sé si todos lo sabíais, entonces lo siento, pero creo que merece la pena la interrupción para el que no controle demasiado inglés pueda enterarse de la charla. Os damos, bueno, no vamos a interrumpirlo, él sigue hablando, pero el que tenga interés tiene cascos ahí detrás. Perdón de nuevo,
Okay, so you can go get it. Right, I'll keep talking. I won't say anything important until you all come back. So this is a big accelerator, okay? It's in a tunnel underneath the countryside. That piece of Switzerland, at the top is Switzerland, at the bottom is France, and so all the particles cross the border very, very often as they zoom round, and the things that people build there are these huge pieces of equipment. And these are built by many, many people coming from many, many universities, and they all come together. Each university builds a different piece, and they all have to fit together. So they really need to communicate. They really need an information system. I was working there. I really needed a good information system. They had lots and lots of different information systems, different networks, different computers. When you connected from your computer to another computer, you'd have to learn how to use that information system to get its information. And then you'd have to write it down on a piece of paper, and then you go and find some more information from a different computer about a different piece of the system. So there were lots of people, they had the problem, but they didn't realize. They've been used to having lots and lots of different information systems. So they didn't realize that they had a problem. So the great thing about CERN, though, is that they had lots of creativity, and also they all had computers. These physicists, they had computers on their desks. They were a perfect place for starting the World Wide Web. In fact, my first time at CERN, I was just a contractor, software engineer. I went for 6 months in 1980, and I wrote this program. This is actually, it's got links. When you looked at this, you see it's all in characters. It runs on an old-fashioned terminal, and the links are numbered, and so to follow the link for it, you type in 4, return. And that was, so I was thinking back then about the idea of links. But I thought really the most important thing was that the web should work with everything, that it should be universal. Well, in 1989, I made a memo saying this is important, and there was a proposal. You can see what's interesting about, there are two things interesting about this. One, it's the original, this was the cover picture on the cover of the memorandum when I originally proposed the World Wide Web. So it's historically interesting. But, and in fact then I called it Mesh. I said this proposal is for a system called Mesh. Later I thought maybe Mesh sounds too like mess, if we make one great big mess. So I called it the World Wide Web instead. And you can see that this here, I've got lots of relationships between. Now I say this document describes this imaginary system which unifies all these different systems. And the other thing about this is the diagram itself is very semantic web-like. This is like the web of data. It's like the web of things connected to other things. So even though it was a proposal for the World Wide Web and a proposal for a web of documents, it's an example of something looking very like the semantic web, the web of data, that came later. So, design I did in 1990. It was tricky because nobody at CERN could really give me the money to go and do it, but they gave me the time to do it when I wasn't sort of on the side. I was allowed to just program it. I got one of those Next computers, which were very exciting at the time. And I designed the URLs, you might call them. I called them UDIs. Now we normally call them URIs. But these things that start with HTTP. I wrote the HTTP protocol, specification, designed HTML, and the rest, well, you know, it's the web. It took off from them. It was actually very difficult to persuade people, though. Here's the first architecture diagram. And the important thing here is this universality, is that anybody can have a server, all different types of server down here, and anybody can have with any computer can connect to any server. So this big red arrow in the middle is a set of standards that all the servers talk, HTTP, HTML, the addressing scheme, URIs, those are the standards which bind the things, all the things on the bottom to all the things on the top. That is a really important thing about the World Wide Web. And as we develop the World Wide Web, it's really important to keep that those things. Keep it universal. It should be, the web should work no matter what hardware you use, no matter what operating system you use. It should work whatever country you're in. Any sort of data you should be able to put on the web. It should be, so the universality of the web was a really important decision. All right, so that was the fundamental thing, and all the development of the web since then has been in the light of these things. All the developments are trying to preserve that, and the developments